As many of you know, John and I took a trip down to Augusta this past January to catch a basketball game, spend time with our son. Little did we know that Zach planned a special activity for us. He told us to wear long sleeves and closed-toed shoes. We had no idea. Turns out he took us to a rage room. We entered, they gave us protective headgear, and they led us down to our own destructive area. We were given weapons and baseball bats and golf clubs and hammers and the like. And then we were given all these plates and glasses and bubbles and vases, and we could go to town, smash, splash, crash, boom. We were supposed to let out our rage, you know? Ever get frustrated with technology? Well, they gave us a computer and monitor too. And we were able to smash that to bits with a little bit of effort. Turns out we worked up a sweat, we had some laughs, and we felt pretty darn good afterwards, you know? Who knew that breaking stuff could be so therapeutic? Now, once we had arrived at the rage room, Zach had given me some advice. He said, "Mom, you have to channel all your frustrations. Think about everything that you're mad at, anything that bothers you, and channel it, Mom, right into this rage room." Well, it was good advice. You know, life does not always give us a safe place to let out our frustrations, a place to break things and to release out our stress and walk away feeling lighter. Too often we're left holding all that stuff, all that stress and frustration and anger inside, and we keep it inside with no easy outlet. And that's why lament is important. Now, you may not even know what lament is. We don't talk about it that much in worship. We don't even practice it that much in worship. But lament is the process of crying out to God, releasing what's building up inside, not by smashing things, but by pouring our hearts out to God. Lament gives us permission to be honest, to stop pretending that everything is fine when it's not. It invites us to lay down our burdens and to speak the hard truth of pain. Lament isn't just venting, though. It's trusting in God. It's lifting our anxieties and our stresses up to God, that God is big enough to handle our hurt, our confusion, and even our anger. And that is what this season of Lent is all about. It's returning to God with all of our hearts. Our theme for this Lenten season is to meet God in the wilderness. And the wilderness is often full of unknowns. It can be barren, full of grief, despair, and God invites us to be honest about it all. And to do that, we have to be honest about what's going on inside, our pain, our frustrations, our questions, our longings. And now, Psalm 13, which John read for us this morning, is a beautiful description or example of lament, of crying out to God. How long, O God? Will you forget me forever? How long, O God, will you hide your face from me? How long will I have this pain in my soul and this sorrow in my heart? How long, O God? But let's be honest, you know, lament doesn't always come easy for us. You know, crying out to God, admitting our pain and our questions and our struggles can feel vulnerable and uncomfortable. Sometimes we hold back because we worry that our feelings are too messy. that our anger and our doubt and our sadness somehow make us feel weak or unfaithful. Other times we convince ourselves that we should just be strong and push through, and it's okay to keep it all bottled up. And sometimes, if we're honest, we don't cry out because we're not sure that God is even listening or that anything will change if we do. Yet Psalm 13 demonstrates that lament is not only allowed, but it is a part of being faithful. The psalmist does not hold back. How long, O Lord, will you forget me forever? How long will you hide your face from me? This is raw and honest and a gut-wrenching prayer. So, since we don't often have the opportunity to lament or to lament together as a community, I thought we'd give it a little practice. We all need practice at these things. And too often we get stuck in our heads. We have to process everything in our heads, and we're not as connected to our bodies and our voices and our whole being. So this morning, I'd like you to channel all that frustration or anger or distress, whatever it is that you're feeling. And it could be something personal. Perhaps you've been hurt in some ways, you've been betrayed, you're feeling lonely, you're discouraged, you're tired. Perhaps you're struggling with an illness, or someone in your family is struggling with an illness, and you are just tired of dealing with it day in and day out. Maybe you have distress about the community in some way, or our country in some way. And if you can't figure out something today that you're feeling distress about, then go into the past. Maybe there's some grief that you've experienced, something that you feel. And we're going to say together, how long, O Lord? We're going to say it 5 times. How long, O Lord? And if you remember other words, you can say, how long, O Lord, do I feel this pain in my soul, and sorrow in my heart? How long do I feel this pain in my soul and sorrow in my heart? Now, when we lament, we can use our whole bodies if you want. So you can use your arms, you can stamp your feet, you can move. Some people like to be loud and demonstrative. Other people are quiet, and so you can do it. And you can do it in your own speed. Ross is going to help us a little bit, so he's going to add some background. So, it kind of lets us not feel so self-conscious. So, is everybody channeling? We're channeling. We're going to say, how long, O Lord? Okay? All right, Ross is going to start us off. Okay. All right. How long, O Lord? How long, O Lord? How long, O Lord, do I feel this pain in my heart and sorrow in my soul? How long, O Lord? How long, O Lord? Thank you. You did well. You did well. And this is exactly what God invites us to do during this Lenten season, to kind of step into the wilderness of our lives and bring our whole selves before God. Not just our polished prayers, but our pain, our sorrow, and even our frustrations. Because lament is not just about releasing those emotions, it's about drawing closer to God, to the one who holds us through them. Lament is different than complaining. Complaining is like grumbling about a bad day, grumbling about being dissatisfied with a product or a service. It's about the annoyances and irritations of people and situations and circumstances. While lament is a more profound expression of grief and sorrow that comes from a place of pain or distress. And our laments are typically directed up toward God or a higher power. It's like holy whining. You're like, it is. And it gives voice to the deepest parts of ourselves. In that way, I believe that lament is a spiritual practice. It's central to the people of Israel as they were walking through the wilderness. They were in the wilderness for 40 years, and the people of Israel cried out to God during that time, and they did not hold back their critique of God's actions and inactions. They told God what they thought, knowing that God would hear their cries. Now, lament is not only about words. It can be words in a prayer or a song or a poem, but sometimes the lament rises from a brushstroke on a canvas or a note on a page or a melody that pours forth from the depths of the soul. And that's one reason that I like jazz. You know, the roots of jazz are deeply tied to the blues. Music that's raw and real, born from struggle, heartache, and pain. The blues don't pretend that everything is okay. Instead, they tell the truth, and they name the sorrow, the longing, the heartbreak. The blues cry out, and that cry becomes a part of the healing process. In fact, one of the most powerful things about jazz is how it can take those deep blue notes, those low notes, into something that speaks of hope and resilience. Jazz doesn't erase the pain. It holds space for it. It lingers in the tension, and somehow the music helps carry us through. Music doesn't rush to fix the pain, but allows the pain to be felt, expressed, and even honored. I have asked our jazz band here today to play, a little bit more of the blues. And as you listen, I invite you to take this time to reflect on your own heart. What burdens are you carrying? What questions feel unanswered? Where are you feeling the weight of grief, of uncertainty, of fear? And in this moment, I invite you to name those things, to hold them before God in whatever way feels most natural to you. Maybe you want to whisper a prayer, write a few words down on a piece of paper, or simply let the music carry your cry. Lament is not all about having the answers. It's about being honest before God and trusting that God can handle our hurt. So together, let's take another moment to cry out in prayer and reflection through the power of music. thing about lament is that it's never meant to leave us stuck in despair. Lament gives us a place to be honest about our pain, but it also invites us toward hope. Psalm 13, the psalmist cries out with anguish, "How long, O Lord, will you forget me forever?" It's raw and real. But notice what happens next. Even as the psalmist pours out sorrow, there is a shift. "I trust in your steadfast love. My heart shall rejoice in your salvation. I will sing to the Lord because he has dealt bountifully with me." The psalm does not deny the pain, but it refuses to let despair have the final word. The psalmists find courage to sing, not because everything is fixed, but because they trust that God is holding them still faithful, still present. Our gospel lesson from Luke follows this same pattern. Jesus looks out over Jerusalem and laments, "Jerusalem, Jerusalem, how often have I desired to gather your children as a hen gathers her brood under her wings, and you were not willing." There's such tenderness here, a heartbroken Jesus weeping over a city that has turned away. And it's important to remember that Jerusalem wasn't just any city. It was the center of the world, the holy city, the place where people believed that God dwelled. Yet by Jesus' time, it was also a place of violence and corruption, a place that had seen war and destruction. It's the place then, too, that Jesus will suffer and die. But even in this lament, Jesus gives a glimpse of something beautiful and reassuring, the image of a mother hen. Now think about that for a moment. It's not a mighty eagle or a powerful lion, but a hen, a simple, ordinary bird, vulnerable, yet fiercely protective. A mother hen can't chase away a fox. She can't overpower a predator. But what she can do is gather her chicks under her wings, pulling them close, shielding them with her own body. It's an image of deep love and courage, a love willing to lay down everything to keep her little ones safe. And that's exactly what Jesus does for us. So now, after we have cried out to God, I invite you to take a moment and to take a few deep breaths and to imagine that Jesus is here with us. That Jesus is here with us now as a mother hen wrapping her arms around us, around this community, filling the space with love. And allow yourself to receive the love. Allow yourself to receive the love of God and breathe in that love. Allow yourself to be wholly loved by this wonderful mother hen. For when we are overwhelmed by grief or burdened by worry, when life feels uncertain or chaotic, when we don't have the words to pray, Jesus, like that mother hen, gathers us in. We don't have to have it all together. Jesus doesn't demand that we fix ourselves or sort everything out first. Jesus simply opens his wings and says, "Come, come, come to me. Let me hold you." Lament creates space for us to move toward that sheltering love, to cry out in pain, yes, but also to turn toward God, who holds us close. So during this Lenten season, I invite you to embrace the turning, to bring your honest questions, your heartache, and your grief, and to trust that God is not only listening, but God is always already reaching out and gathering you in. Thanks be to God. Amen.